Hey folks, how's it going? My name is ObscureNameDigit, and today we've got a review of the Omen by HP 27. Yeah, it's a weird name. What it is 165Hz 1440p G-Sync enabled monitor. Let's take a look. Much like everything in the Omen series, Omen by HP 27 tries to marry as many features with the best possible components in a slightly gaudy shell. If you're a fan of Omen by HP's bold and aggressive branding, then you will feel right at home in front of the Omen by HP 27. However, with the majority of the monitor's visuals dominated by a smooth 27-inch Quad HD 165Hz display, this reviewer will wager his rent that nobody will be able to take their eyes off it when it's gaming. So, now comes good Omen, bad Omen. With its textured rear panels, foreboding LED, logo, combo and hidden buttons, Omen by HP 27 fits the Omen lineup well. While it's certainly more conventional looking than the Omen by HP 17 or Omen X by HP Desktop, that's the big ugly one in case you didn't know, HP did push the visual boundaries about as far as they realistically could. Monitors have to be a rectangular screen and minimal bezel. There isn't much wiggle room. The choice of an LED below the screen pointing to the Omen logo is both functional and aesthetically interesting. Some users will elect to have a neutral white or pale yellow to alleviate dim room eye strain, while others will pick something horrific to add to their macular masochism. The diamond-shaped foot and sharply rounded corners are subtle details that feed in the Omen look and help the monitor stand out visually. Okay, so it's a good-looking monitor, but is it ergonomically diverse? The ease with which users can adjust their display is an underrated aspect in judging such devices. Omen by HP 27 mixes a couple of errors and oversights in this respect, albeit mixed with some clever design. HP really dropped the ball on some of the basics. The addition of a headphone stand is nice on paper, but it's behind the screen. The buttons are behind the panel rather than on the side or lower edge. It takes that little bit longer to find or use them. A user can adjust a preset to their liking and save the settings, but there's only one custom slot. In an age when many premium gaming monitors come with auxiliary controls with custom settings, hotkeys, one custom slot is just shocking. The stand and spring-loaded vertical adjustment slide are faultless aside from the slightly irritating sound it makes while moving. Though the vast majority of users will use the provided stand, the VESA mount arrangement is subpar. I noticed the screws were short and didn't inspire confidence that it would hold up to regular adjustable stand use. After a short period of periodically turning the screen to face the couch, the screws became loose and actually sheared. Okay, you're still with us. So, you want to see some redeeming features? Well, the display itself is excellent for gaming. It's bright, sharp, and incredibly smooth. Users upgrading their full HD 60Hz monitors to match their increased gaming power will probably cry a few tears of joy. I know I did. To get the very best from the 165Hz refresh rate, users will need a serious rig, or history's best optimized game. Games are noticeably smoother at 165Hz, and the 1 millisecond grey to grey response time is excellent. The grey to grey time is largely the result of HP choosing a TN panel over IPS. For gamers, this essentially is a trade-off of incredible response times and minimal lag input versus colour fidelity and contrast ratio. For NVIDIA GPU users, the application of G-Sync is superb here. Screen tearing was rare if not completely absent while using compatible hardware. G-Sync is proprietary of course, so beware that this feature depends on your choice of GPU. So, if you've got yourself an AMD card, this is not the monitor for you unfortunately. Go for a FreeSync monitor. One thing the Omen by HP 27 has in common with 1976's The Omen, they both have bleeding. The display seems a little bright out of the box. The backlight bleed is also severe. Users would do well to adjust the settings immediately, as these bleeding edges, the panel's greatest flaw, are more obvious at higher outputs. The TN tech of the panel isn't as nuanced or colourful as other display types, nor does it reach their deep darks, so an adjustment to brightness is recommended to tackle the overblown brights and grey blacks. Another quirk of the TN panel is that vertical viewing angles are somewhat shocking. Since the technology isn't common anymore, but making a comeback, you may forget how quickly it blows out, inverts and then fades away beyond 150 degrees or so. Horizontally speaking, it manages to preserve detail to around 165 degrees, but colour begins to fade out at 150 or so. For the average gamer, this probably means nothing, as they will likely be sharing their screen with only 1 or 2 people at a time maximum. This isn't a TV, so a living room's worth of folk circled around the monitor watching the moon landing isn't a realistic scenario. So before we wrap up this review of the Omen HP by 27, something like that, it's got a resolution of 2560 by 1440, screen size 27 inches, refresh rate 24Hz up to 144 with 165Hz overclocked, contrast ratio static 1000 to 1 and dynamic 10 million to 1, brightness of 350 candelas per meter squared, color depth to 24-bit, response time grey to grey at 1 millisecond, connections, we've got the HDMI, we've got a display port, 3 USB 3s, there's a VESA mount on there. We're not going to do the dimensions, you can see them there, and the weight is 6.48 kg. Alrighty, final words. Choosing TN over IPS and adding G-Sync were great choices, and HP deserved credit for their execution. 165Hz gaming is objectively slick, and while shaving the response time down to 1 millisecond might seem arbitrary, it does give gamers one less thing to blame when they get fragged. At around €999, Omen by HP 27 is obviously aimed at those who want the fastest response times and the least lag, but don't mind paying the premium. The issue is that at nigh on $1,000, consumers should expect a flawless user experience that just isn't here. The competition can match the impressive numbers while beating Omen by HP 27 elsewhere. There are other 165Hz monitors with G-Sync and minimal input lag at a slightly lower price point. In summary, you'll never be disappointed by Omen by HP 27 when lashing out a G-Synced 165 frame per second shooter. The disappointment comes when you want to adjust the settings to watch videos, sit at a weird angle, or use a VESA mount. We give this an overall score of 7.9. Folks, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumb up because it really helps us out. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or maybe even your own opinion on the Omen by HP 27. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm ObscureNameDigit. This review was written by Vinny Fanneran, and I'll see you next time.